So we have the full spoilers for chapter 34 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, and we do have Boruto embarrassing Code once again. And there's also a conversation between Sakura and Sarada, which you guys might find interesting. It does name drop Sasuke. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so these spoilers were the worst. It's all over the place, but I'll do my best to put it together. So the chapter opens with Boruto holding the Thorn Soul Bulb of Bug, or Mamushi, whichever one. And Kawaki says, "What do you mean by rot?" Boruto then tells him exactly what it sounds like. Leave it alone and the Thorn Soul Bulb will rot within minutes. And those that were turned into trees, in other words, the humans who became the prototype for the divine tree, they will die. So of course, I think everyone gets where this is going. They're obviously setting up Sasuke possibly dying if they don't get the bulb to him in time. And I don't know if Kawaki will play a part in that, but I think that's what they're trying to put focus on at this point. Anyways, we then move to the side characters and everyone is doing okay. So Himawari is fine, Inojin is fine, his eyes are fine, and he can also see. So apparently they suffered no consequences, which is interesting. But yeah, Konohamaru lifts up Sarada and Chocho runs over to, ask what's okay, and then they head off to the hospital. Now Koji then speaks to Boruto and says that Code never showed himself after all, which implies that he was anticipating Code showing up, but he didn't. And he also tells him that he's waiting for the chance to kill him. And then says if Boruto were to go to the Ten Tails dimension, it's almost certain that Code will be there to attack him because it's a very closed off area. It's not like everyone can just teleport to another dimension. So Boruto doesn't have much backup. Although I'm not sure why Code would think Boruto would need backup to beat him given what happened the last time. So that's interesting. Now Koji then tells him there's three outcomes. Either Boruto kills Code if he does go to that dimension, or Code leaves the dimension and goes after Sarada because he wants to use Sarada as leverage to lure Boruto in, which of course is a very good idea. Now the third option is that Code betrays the Shinju and works with them to take them out, which Koji says is a very slim possibility, but it is possible. It could happen. There's also one panel of Boruto kinda looking a bit, sympathetic towards Code when Koji tells him that he should kill him. So maybe Boruto doesn't want to do that. I'm not sure why. Maybe he's a bit too soft. Who knows? Anyways, the bulb starts to rot and Boruto teleports away and Himawari sees him and, says Boruto, whatever. So we get to the Ten Tails dimension. Oh, by the way, before we get to the Ten Tails dimension, Kawaki does have a short convo with Amado, because Amado pulls up with one of his toads and tells him that he should visit him later on. But yes, back to the Ten Tails dimension. Boruto arrives and immediately activates his Karma and Byakugan. And you have Code, he's on the tree of course, as we saw in the prior chapter, and he's like, "Fool Boruto, coming all this way just to save some bug you have no connection to. But I knew you'd come. That's just the kind of guy you are." Which goes back to why he wants to save Code. And Code says something interesting. He says, "Come closer, you hypocrite. I'll end it in an instant by slashing your throat." I'm not sure why he's calling Boruto an hypocrite. Is it because in his mind Boruto is willing to save Bug, but he wasn't willing to save him or something? I'm not sure. I'll look into it a bit. But that's the kind of reading I'm getting here. But anyways, Boruto uses the Byakugan to see directly through the tree itself and sees the claw mark on the other side. So he knows that Code is there. He then pretends as if he doesn't know that Code is there and walks over to place the Thorn Soul Bulb on the tree. And the moment Code emerges, he then activates Uzuhiko. Code is then shocked by this and jumps out of the way and then says, "Uzuhiko?" Because he remembers what happened the last time, of course. He then says, "Crafty little bastard. He anticipated my ambush and launched a counterattack against me. I didn't expect that." And the dialogue is so weird. I don't know, it sounds like the narrator telling you what's happening, right? He anticipated Code's ambush and launched a counter. He didn't expect that. I don't know, Code sounds like a like an NPC. Or maybe it's the translation, because this translation isn't that good, by the way. But anyways, Boruto then tells him, I'm glad to see that you're in good shape, Code. A sneaky attack. Pretty passive of you, which I'm sure that is not what Boruto said, but yeah, bad translation. Anyways, Boruto says, what's wrong? Come at me. You've only missed one chance so far. Have some confidence. Code says, this damn bastard. Like I'd fall for that cheap stunt, which he did prior, so he's learned from his mistakes. Boruto then says, hey, then what are you gonna do? Just how do you plan on killing me when you're shaking like that? And Code of course is wondering what's he gonna do. Code then says, you'll understand soon enough, and he pulls up his hand because we have to remember that Code lost his right hand to Jura, and now he has some thorns or spikes as a replacement. I'm not sure if it does anything special, it could just be something used to stab someone, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, Code runs away once again, getting embarrassed once again. Boruto says, so he ran away, huh? And Koji tells him you were provoking him a bit too much. So it's a bit weird and strange, because Boruto still seems a bit nonchalant, even though Koji told him that the second option is that Code goes after Sarada. So maybe Boruto isn't worried about that, I don't know, but you'd think he'd be a bit like, oh, I need to head back right now to protect Sarada, but he isn't. So maybe there's like a delay that Koji mentioned, maybe Code takes 2 more days and we didn't see that, who knows. But anyways, the bulb begins to rot and it just pops into dust. And that also causes Bug himself to, go up in smokes. And Boruto apologizes and says, we were too slow. But Koji replies saying, don't worry about it, he was just a villain anyway. At least burn this sight into your eyes. The sight of a soul burning out completely, which again, I assume, is a reference to this possibly happening to Sasuke. We'll see. Now there's also the convo between Sarada and Sakura, where Sarada wakes up in the hospital and everyone is around her asking her if she's doing okay, yada yada yada. And Sakura asks her to tell her how many fingers she's seen, and that's where we get to the sneak peek where it shows a bit blurry. And she tells her that she needs a better prescription, goes on to explain the Mangekyo and the loss of sight that will happen if you continue to use the power. And Sarada then apologizes to Sakura, but Sakura then hugs her and says, it's fine, I'm not going to tell you not to use it, because that power is something you chose to do, or chose to use, for the sake of what you're trying to protect. It is a power that you needed, a strength that you created yourself. Now she then goes on to say that it's not her place to say anything really, it's a matter of her resolve, and of course as long as she has that resolve, she will be fine. She then looks at Sarada and says, you want to become Boruto's strength, right? Which I think is more so referring to being Boruto's pillar, being something Boruto can lean on, in that sense. And of course, Sarada is a bit embarrassed and she hides her face. But Sakura laughs and says, no, she's really her kid because she's doing this all for the sake of one boy, willing to throw everything else away. Just like your father, you always stand up against something impossibly overwhelming, no matter what kind of shame they try to pin on you. Your father's brother was the same way. She then says, you know Sarada, I trust you and your father. No matter what happens, I'm used to it by now. People talking all kinds of trash about my family. And they both smile at each other. Now someone then calls her for another medical emergency and she leaves the room, but before she does, she then screams the usual Sakura shout, and everyone is confused and a bit weirded out by it. They don't know why she does that, even Sarada, all this time. But we do see Sakura walking away crying, so she does put up a brave face, but she is worried about Sarada. And yeah, this kind of goes back to what I said in the prior video about the Byakugo not being something she can use to heal her. And there was the debate about what happens next. Maybe she says something next, but clearly based on her not doing anything in this chapter and also crying shows that she doesn't really have a solution to the problem. Or maybe that cry was more so relating to Sasuke and the entire state of her family. So Sakura is going through it. She's just putting up a brave face for her daughter. I think that might be the implication here. But also Sakura does name drop Itachi, so it does seem like they did fill Sakura in on the entire Uchiha clan massacre stuff, which is great. But yeah, Sarada, Chocho, and Sumire then catch up briefly, and Chocho calls Sumire class rep and she tells her that she goes by Sumire now. And Chocho is a bit shocked by her personality. She's wondering if she's a different person. But they also kinda talk about Boruto, because Chocho now believes that he's one of the good guys working for the safety of the village, and she does see him as kinda hot, as per usual. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, that's it for the chapter. Not much happened. We do have the conclusion of what happens when a Thorn Soul Bulb isn't used right away. The person does literally go up in smokes. They turn into nothingness. Poof, gone. Which might be Sasuke's fate. I guess we'll see. With that said, if you guys liked the video, drop a like. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.